Welcome to Thursday. It's July 3rd, 2025. Your day weather podcast brought to you by the Advocates Injury Attorneys. If you've been injured in an accident, don't face it alone. Get an experienced local Wyoming attorney on your side. Free consultations at wyomingadvocates.com or call 307-800-1952. You deserve an advocate. Well, the monsoonal moisture plume is going to start to move. Pretty picture there from a sunrise yesterday across the high plains. Mid-level moisture showing there in those altocumulus clouds. The deeper monsoonal moisture, which we've been showing you slowly working its way northward into the region, is going to today, tonight, and Friday shift a bit. And what that's going to do is push the deepest moisture through into the central and northern Rockies, then eventually out into the plains. And we'll kind of analyze what the next 24 to 36 hours will look like, because there's going to be some interesting weather. Now, this sounds crazy, especially for you folks in western Colorado and Utah that have been really, really dry, western areas of Wyoming that need some moisture. When we get into patterns like this, literally you can have an area that does not get a drop of rain. Nothing. Zero. You're disappointed. But a mile away, you could have a flash flood. We saw that in Arizona yesterday afternoon and evening. We'll talk about that here in a moment. But we do have a scenario today, tonight, and Friday where there's going to be some concentration of very heavy rainfall in some locations. Almost impossible to pinpoint, but we'll need to watch that, especially with a lot of folks outdoors. And we may have overnight, during the nighttime hours, some shower and thunderstorm activity, and it could carry over into Friday morning. Some areas on the 4th of July may have morning showers or thunderstorms. We'll show you where. And thunderstorm activity on Friday looks to be very active. We'll show you where, but as the monsoonal plume comes over the divide, Friday is going to be a pretty busy day of showers and thunderstorms. We hope they're over in time for fireworks displays, but you kind of need to be prepared for a busy day on Friday of showers and thunderstorms around. Drier air returns to the western slope this weekend, but it will stay there. There will be enough moisture remaining on the eastern side of the divide for shower and thunderstorm activity. Here's a good example, a shot from California here in early July. A lot of times you just have completely blue skies this time of year there, and no precipitation, but the monsoon has gotten that far north and west into Crowley Lake, California area. And nice wispy iridescent cirrus cloud there in Fountain, Colorado earlier this week. Now, some of you will get this if you look at the title on the lower left-hand corner there. If you know, you know. But those anvils from those thunderstorms that have developed over the last couple of days, since the winds aloft have been so weak, the anvils spread out and they kind of stay stationary. So they kind of look like something there. Also, this is another concern. In addition to flash flooding, we have lightning strikes, a lot of lightning strikes with this pattern, and you can have these thunderstorms in the monsoon be fire starters. Now, a lot of times they might start a fire and put one out, but this time of year, lightning strikes are something to watch out for. Now, here's a shot far away, beautiful shot of some showers over Lake Superior there. Just a really good shot. If you didn't know that was Lake Superior, you might think that was off the coast of Florida somewhere. Now, when we look at the satellite imagery this morning, very easy to determine where our moisture is right now. The monsoonal moisture field, there's that notch that's been around where the drier air here out on the plains. But the feed of deeper moisture is right into this boundary I just showed you. Shows up well in the water vapor as well, especially this axis. This is the axis we highlighted for you yesterday. Along and near this axis, the water vapor, the moisture content of the air is very, very deep. Radar from early this morning. I showed you this yesterday. Showers and thunderstorms going overnight. Bullhead City, Arizona under a flood advisory this morning. And we've got showers and thunderstorms going on early this morning across a good portion of New Mexico's higher terrain there. And here's just a couple of reports. There were many. This is just a couple of highlights. Came in late evening and overnight. If you look in parts of Arizona, 2 to 4 feet of water moving through some areas. flash flooding in some locations, very strong wind gusts, dust storms, all of those fun things you get. So when you look upstream, when you just notice what's happened in the environment that's now moving into some areas, this environment right here, as you can see in the satellite photos with the deeper moisture, when you look at what's happened the previous day, that's always a bit of a red flag. So by noon today, the deepest moisture plume is going to be in the dark green and the blue, but certainly right here is where the axis of the deeper moisture is. And it's been moving extremely slowly. So what we're going to see today, though, and as we get into Friday, is a movement of this. So along this axis, where you see the darker green and blue areas, you're going to have the heavier rain-producing showers and thunderstorms today into those locations. What you need is daytime heating and terrain, but there's also some help in the upper levels. So this is by noon today. This is by 6 a.m. Mountain Time tomorrow. You see how it's shifting eastward? A drier air punch is coming into Arizona, western New Mexico there, but we've got this arch on Friday coming in. But the moisture here is so deep that during the overnight hours into Friday morning and through the morning hours of Friday, there's just so much water content in the atmosphere. Just a little bit of daytime heating and terrain is going to cause showers and thunderstorms to develop. But we also have an upper level disturbance high in the atmosphere that will bring slightly cooler air aloft overhead tonight and into tomorrow morning. So when we look at the latest drought monitor, this was the one from last week, I just want to highlight, how dry it is in western and southwestern Wyoming, the western slope of Colorado, into the desert southwest here. Of course, Arizona doing very, very well, but boy, very, very dry, especially for you folks in western Colorado here. Just a huge contrast between eastern Colorado and western Colorado. So we really need the monsoon to be more productive here. I think for you folks here in western Colorado, this is your day. This is your day where the chances are the best. You might get something in the rain bucket. What I want to show you now to just highlight what we think will happen today, overnight, tonight, into Friday morning, is show you what's called the K index. So throwing something new at you. This is a old school parameter. There's new things called CAPE and everything else that's out there right now, but it shows up really good on a map. K index, as you see here, is just a good way to assess the chance for showers and thunderstorms and instability. It takes into account temperatures aloft, which is very important, and how much moisture is in the air. So where you see the brighter colors, you see a higher K index. And so by noon today, if you notice, there's the drier notch that's right there. So you don't have much instability, but you have it wrapped around it. But this is the area here I just want to highlight. So right underneath this plume right here is where showers and thunderstorms as early as noon today will be forming. So this is by the noon hour. If we go and advance into midnight tonight, what you notice is, look at the change in colors moving into western areas of Wyoming and Colorado with that deeper moisture plume at the same time on top of this. And then by Friday morning, notice how much instability still exists. That's why overnight showers and thunderstorms will happen. And with the slower movement of the atmosphere, even though the moisture plume's moving, it's not moving through quickly. And then today, this is by noon today, you see this blue patch? This is showing an upper level area, an upper level feature that's coming in and moving this way at the same time. So we have the moisture here, the instability here, the low here, and remember, the best lifting mechanism of a low is in front of it, not under it, in front of it. So we have lift, we have daytime heating, we have deep moisture, we have instability. This is not the type of pattern that produces widespread severe weather, but you do tend to have the showers and thunderstorms as very efficient rain producers and very efficient producers of producing some really strong wind gusts. And so this is at noon today, this is midnight tonight, so it barely moves and still is in place and has to move overnight into Friday morning into the plains, hence that risk of morning showers and thunderstorms in some areas tomorrow. These are the winds at 500 millibars. They're a little stronger. The flow of air is from the south to the north. So the trajectory has the showers and thunderstorms forming on the higher terrain, then drifting slowly northward. They'll move a little bit quicker, But what you tend to have is what we call training. You could have a thunderstorm here develop and move north. You may have a thunderstorm that develops right behind it and move north. And so we have what's called a training effect, where a shower thunderstorm will move over an area followed by another one based on how the wind patterns are. So it'll be an interesting day, an interesting night, and an interesting Friday. Here's where the thunderstorm activity will be between noon and 6 p.m. tonight. This axis right here, you can see that southern Arizona can have a very busy afternoon and evening down there. But this area right here in particular, we could have some flash flooding in some of these showers and thunderstorms. I can't tell you where, but just watch out for that. Then as we go into the Storm Prediction Center, you can see they really only have severe up here in North Dakota. No severe here because we don't have all the right ingredients for severe weather, just slow-moving, heavy rain-producing thunderstorms. Now, this is the lightning strike potential between 6 a.m. tomorrow and noon tomorrow on the 4th of July. This is where we may have overnight and early morning shower and thunderstorm activity. So from western Wyoming back into Idaho, eastern Oregon, look at this here in Nebraska and eastern Colorado. We may have on the 4th of July morning showers and thunderstorms, and then we're going to see them fire up later in the afternoon. So in this area right here, you need to be prepared on the 4th of July for what could be some significant shower and thunderstorm development. And some of it might be strong, I think mainly with strong wind gusts and periods of heavy rain. So your 4th of July, in those areas where you see the green, the yellow, and the brighter colors, you need to be prepared for shower and thunderstorm activity. As we go through the forecast period, the Storm Prediction Center does have some of that severe out here. And then as we go into Saturday, we'll step you through the weekend. Right along the divide and in the mountains again, there's moisture. Notice there's not nearly as much going on down here. There's a pause in the action, so to speak. But there's nothing to sweep away the subtropical moisture along and east of the divide. So Saturday, you're going to have showers and thunderstorms. Some of those thunderstorms Saturday, they've highlighted a marginal risk for severe weather there. Then on Sunday, it's a little bit of a smaller area, but there's a high concentration of showers and thunderstorms right here along the Wind River Mountains as well, the Uintas. Now there's a notch of drier air coming in right here into the Four Corners area. But east of the divide, you still have an active day of afternoon and evening showers and thunderstorms. To step you through temperatures aren't really all that bad. Yeah, they'll be warm to hot in some areas, but it's July. But also at the same time, if you look at temperatures, they're not too out of whack. These are high temperatures forecasted for tomorrow. Notice underneath the monsoonal moisture plume, pretty darn cool right here, pretty cool up here as well. That's Friday. This is Saturday's high temperatures. And this is Sunday. So pretty pleasant, really, across the northern plains and northern Rockies. Hot as you would expect in the deserts, but we certainly have had hotter 4th of July weekends. Looking ahead a little bit further, this is by next Wednesday. The monsoon door closes because the flow of air gets pushed out into the Pacific. Doesn't really have a chance to curve back much. And so we will have more of a zonal westerly flow. Although I will tell you, I think with northwest winds aloft, moisture on the plains, that area right there for a good part of next week is probably going to have multiple days where severe weather is going to need to be a concern, needs to be watched, and we'll address that for you a little bit more tomorrow. And speaking of which, on the 4th of July, we'll have a short video update for you. There's your precipitable water by Wednesday. You can see it gets pushed out to the Pacific for now. Drier air returns to the Great Basin, but there you can see the moisture is still out there by the middle of next week on the plains, hence the severe weather threat. Have a great 4th of July.